clearly she did.
Interesting. So, you know, you got to love those subtle leaks, right? So, I mean, you can tell it matches up with what we see in the video. They went into Shanquella's room. She was asleep. They woke her up to fight with her. They went in there with a purpose.
Did die because of on the bed. Because y'all see something in the video, don't mean.
Who, Jessica? At Snow? Snow did? Snow did? Snow here in the chat did?
That happened. They're just trying to cover it up with a broken spine. Yeah.
But that would mean you're participating in said cover up, right? Because it was obviously morning time. You could see out the window during the fight. It looked like it was early morning. That woman, Shanquella, was laying in that. Man, listen, I don't even understand how the doctor can say that they gave her CPR 14 or 15 times, because I'm trying to understand. I mean, because it makes it even worse if she had to lay there in agony for hours before dying while y'all sat there and lied. You told Nazir that y'all found her over the toilet. She had been sick from drinking too much the night before. How did Shanquella get clothes on her body, Winter? When it's very obvious that the fight killed her, she wouldn't have been dressed, and she wouldn't have been able to dress herself.
And whatever else they're saying. You all like y'all. I was not fighting in the video, so the person that was fighting in the video is not up here, and she can only speak for herself. So until she gets up here, she can speak on her behalf. We're talking because we were there. There's multiple people there, not just the girl that was fighting. So I'm confused with what's the question you're trying to ask.
So
if
bitchy.
Me and my friend is going through something, we're gonna fight it out.
Really? Is that right?
That's just that.
Do you think that when your friend gets to Mexico, and if they say, hey, you know, we want to know, did Winter Donovan body slam her and blah, 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 do you think that she'll tell on you to get a lighter sentence? Being the fact that the prison that she's going to be going to is known as one of the worst prisons in the world? I'm just curious.
Nobody's going to jump in. And that's just what happened. After she fell, she was not dead. She was not dead.
You know, the body can do amazing things. And she could have very well lived hours after a very severe injury like that. You know, doctors can only estimate so much. They can only estimate, you know, science, only so much. But Winter Donovan and Khalil Cook especially, and even Malik Dyer. Because, you know, Elise Hyatt, her sister, had been murdered, from my understanding. Some domestic violence situation. She was there in Cabo. And from everything I've heard, she was trying to get the fight to stop. But you know how when we watched on camera, when Shanquella was recording and she went around that corner and a lot of people said, hey, you know, it looks like they're in there plotting on her. They would have had to have plotted and talked if they're going to all rush up in her room and get her up out of a bed so that they can fight her. And Khalil Cook sitting there and Malik Dyer sitting there, and they're filming it. They walked into that room with those cameras filming. They knew what they were doing. I haven't seen it not be confirmed. So, yeah. I don't know what it is. All of a sudden, like, you know how you can kind of feel the temperature? And it's like there's all of a sudden, like, some folks, like, are you agape or are you surprised that she was arrested? I mean, we've only been talking about this case since the end of October. Like, what is the shock about? And you know, I don't really care too much for people that come up in my chat, you know, trying to sway shit. So tread light. For all I know, you could be Winter Donovan in here trolling and shit. Tread very light, please. I don't mind y'all doing what you got to do, but when it starts disturbing like what I'm trying to do up here, that's an issue. And I'm seeing a whole bunch of trolling. Yeah. And you hear me talking to you, right, Kay? You do hear me talking to you, right? You just heard what I said. You did hear what I said, right? All right, then.
Yes, she did have a fight that y'all will see, and that's going viral.
No, Miss B, you're not on the
wrong
page.
Because Carla did some crazy shit while she was drunk. So
I don't know. If she comes back with some more shit, you can damn sure exit her on up out of here. Cause she ain't got no picture on her avatar or nothing. I mean, there's folks coming up in here saying, oh, you only see you, Miss B? Oh, you must be over at Crime and Investigations. You're over at Crime and Investigations. Yeah, I do highlight reels over there, Miss B. So come over to the leakq.com page. We're all over here, the big majority of us. Because I'm going to end up ending that video here in just a moment. All right, you take care now. You take care. Yeah. And I appreciate that, but if you've watched me for a long time, then you would know that it's rude to interrupt from the chat like that, trying to literally sway my commentary, right? It's very, very distractful. It's why a lot of content creators don't even look at the chat when they're talking. But I mean, I'm literally like, move around, go fight with somebody else in somebody else's room. I don't need to fight with nobody tonight. I already am going to drag a bitch on Interloper Nation probably later. Okay. I only got time for one bitch today. You have a great evening. Very disrespectful.
Yes, she did have a fight that y'all will see, and that's going viral. They were fighting because
seems like somebody don't want anything to get out.
Crazy shit while she was drunk. So he basically told her to, let's fight. I don't want to drag you out of the bed. Chloe didn't want to. But that's how that happened. Unfortunately, she did die.
So that kind of happened. So basically what they're saying, what she's saying, is that they literally dragged Shanquella out of the bed to fight her. Like, this is like some old high school stuff. Like middle school, high school type stuff. Yeah, me neither, Queen. And there's been a lot of folks coming in the last few, weeks. And maybe she has been here, but I don't recognize her as a long-term person that has been up in the chat before, nothing like that. So for all I know, it could be a family member of Winter or one of these Cabo 6 people trolling, or some hater that I got trolling. But I don't need all that type. I mean, I don't mind people saying, there's been a couple of people in here who said things like, hey, where's the proof and all that sort of thing. Listen, people have a right to ask that question, because that's always the first question I ask, right? And I get that and I understand that. But man, when you go on a tirade like that, and you're literally like doing it so much that you bam, I got to stop what I'm doing to address your emotions in my chat. I think you need to kind of step back there. BTK Killer. What's up with it, BTK Killer? It's always a pleasure to see you. How are you? Yeah, so, we talked about this audio. I know it was like in the first week of when this case was happening. It's in, a couple videos back or whatnot. And you gotta love it when people can't control themselves and they just have to go on social media and talk. Sometimes they can even have lawyers or attorneys and still still can't help themselves but to go and talk. Oh man, I can think of a couple celebrities that are like that, who have really great lawyers but still can't help themselves. They gotta get it off their chest, and I always said, hey man, if you feel like that, go talk to a priest, a Catholic priest or something, or call your lawyer or something like that, or talk to your pillow, but never talk or tell your most deepest secrets to anybody that you just met, ain't been friends with for a while. You know what I mean?
Yes, she did have a fight that y'all will see, and that's going viral. They were fighting because Carla did some crazy shit while she was drunk. So,
and see, you know what I also hear when I hear her saying that? Like she's mad at Shanquella. Y'all notice that? Shanquella did something while she was drunk. She seems like she's angry at Shanquella.
He basically told her to, let's fight. I don't want to drag you out of the bed. Chloe didn't want to, but that's how that happened. Unfortunately, she did die because of up on the bed. But y'all see something in the video, don't mean that happened. They're just trying to cover it up with a broken spine.
That was a great word, Miss B.
Whatever else they're saying. You all like y'all. I was not fighting in the video, so.
Interestingly, she says, I was not fighting in the video. So why is the whole world talking about Winter Donovan grabbing Shanquella by her neck? I mean, here's the real question. Do you think Daejhanae will take the fall by herself? Is the question. I don't think so. I don't think she's going to take the fall by herself. Why should she? Did she dress Shanquella's dead body by herself? I know somebody that I used to go to school with, Ralph Brown. You can actually look it up if you want. He was I think maybe 2 or 3 years ahead of me. And it was like the summer of like 97, 98. He participated in a capital murder in Texas. Another man named Reginald Reeves, he's been executed by the state of Texas many years ago. But he actually was the one that had killed the girl. And her name was Jenny Lynn Weeks. And I knew her. We actually were in the same foster home together. And she ran away from the foster home with this girl from my hometown, which I still don't like to this day. Never speak to her when I see her because she got Jenny killed. Went down, took her down to the Ville or whatnot. She went to stay with Reggie, but Reggie ended up raping and killing her. And then Ralph Brown comes over after this attack and helps Reggie carry her body to an abandoned house, which was next It was pretty much up on the corner, right, from the house they were in. Ralph Brown is still in prison. Now, Reginald Reeves was executed, but Ralph Brown got the same charge. He got the same charge. When he went in, his baby mama was 5 months pregnant with their son when he went in. And their son, passed away a couple of years ago from a work accident. And I still think, and I hope that she sues the fuck out of that company, because they have a record, an OSHA record too. That man has spent all these years in prison, and his son was born. He held his son one time, and that was because the grace of some city cops in the city of Clarksville that carried that baby back to him for him to hold his son. He is still in prison, and he couldn't even attend his son's funeral. And I do expect that one day he will be paroled. He didn't have a record before this. Reggie did, but not Ralph. He didn't have any sort of aggravated record or anything like that. Young, right? In Texas, 35 years is considered a life sentence. So once you hit 35 years in Texas, that is considered a life, that you've done a life sentence. And so, I do expect that he probably will be paroled, at least, I do expect that it would happen. And I hear he doesn't really get in a lot of trouble and that sort of a thing. I mean, you would be really quite surprised how small this world really is. I mean, I literally walk, people I come across, people I may know from home or here in Dallas, just here in this whole East Texas area, running into people, you'd be surprised how many people maybe in prison, who may run into a relative or a friend from back home type shit. Oh yeah. When it starts happening like that, that tells you right there, man, it's too many people incarcerated in Texas. But there's too many people incarcerated in the United States of America alone, just period. But I don't mean to go off in a spill about that. But I said all that because Shanquella was not dressed during that fight. How did she get clothes on her? And the fact that these friends were there and they watched what happened that morning, knew what her injury was, but held her back from even being able to go to a hospital, insinuating she must be treated here. She must be treated here. This doctor claims she's given her 14 rounds of CPR. And Nazir said that this group, when he got there, went in the kitchen and started cooking? Is that right? Really? Man, if something happens like that with me on vacation with a group of friends, and I've went on vacation with groups of friends before. It's actually can be kind of fun. You can deal with that person for at least a couple of days. But I could not imagine something like that happening and not getting immediate help. I would never let it turn into a cover-up situation. And that's what you all did. You all done turned this into an entire cover-up situation. And all of you are lying. You're not being honest. The truth of the matter is, Shanquella, y'all knew what happened. Y'all knew why she was in the shape she was in. What do you mean she wasn't dead? She was not talking to you though. She was not neurologically functioning. And y'all thought that an IV was going to fix it? Is Winter Donovan the one that's supposed to be the nurse?
The person that was fighting in the video is not up here, and she can only speak for herself. So until she gets up here, she can speak on her behalf.
I mean, and that's her saying basically like she's not going to say anything or talk or tell anything about, I mean, if you don't have nothing to hide, you should be able to say what your friend did that day with no hesitation. If you don't have anything to hide, right? Hey, Angie Vlogs, how are you?
We're talking because we were there. There's multiple people there, not just the girl that was fighting. So I'm confused. What's the question you're trying?
We're confused how you all sat around with a woman's dead body in that Cabo villa for hours like that. That's what we want to know. Miss Bitch. She's so bitchy. What's up with it, TC? How are you? I mean, Daejhanae's going to be in, I mean, it's over. Like, as far as like getting to her and all that sort of a thing, that's donezo. And I bet you agents were probably staking out her home and all that sort of a thing pretty much probably as soon as Mexico issued the warrant. There was so much activity on this case on social media. It's been insane. It's been insane. But you know that the main video we all want to see, right, is Daejhanae getting perp walked. You know how Mexico does that thing with cartel leaders and cartel members, and they're always perp walked, and they'll even sometimes pose them in front of like drugs and guns and all that stuff. I just wonder if they're going to perp walk Miss Daejhanae Jackson. Yeah, I heard that that they are referring to the remaining members as the Cabo Five. There's always some truth to a story. You're right. And there's always a little truth to a little gossip too. Now, it may not all be true, but that's always been sort of my findings. The charge is still femicide. Yep. And, because she's female, that's just how they do it in Mexico. But, if you really want to like equate it, it's like an aggravated murder charge, like what we would see here in America. In Texas, an aggravated murder charge is a capital murder or a capital crime. So, yeah, the potential of time that Daejhanae Jackson would have to serve is much longer because of the charge. And remember what Mexican authorities said too. They said that Daejhanae died as a direct aggression. They've had their hands on these videos since the beginning, from my understanding. But somehow, we still haven't seen this second mysterious tape, but we know there is a second tape. We know that the Mexican authorities have it. We do know that. You're right. It is thanks to social media. Because of how aggravated the situation was. So if you look at like a manslaughter versus like a first degree aggravated murder, where someone planned or plotted versus hitting someone in your car by accident, which would be manslaughter or homicide, but you didn't intend to go out there, and two, it was an accident. It's not like you walked up to the person and did something physically to cause harm to that person too. So Mexican authorities really, really highlighted the fact that this was a direct aggression on Daejhanae's part. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, Stephanie. Shout out to Stephanie in the chat. No, I'm with you 1,000%. The only wild card in that theory, and we call them theories when we talk and blog and talk about true crime and we talk about possibilities that happen in cases and stuff, it's called a theory. One of the theories is that Nazir Wiggins, obviously, he was not there when this happened, but he walks in and I even sent Nazir Wiggins a message. Of course, I was trying to get an interview with him, but of course, he's probably getting a million messages. Probably didn't even see mine, right? And I told him straight up, you don't owe no loyalty to these people. You don't, all that talk about 2:16, I got there at 2:16, and I arrived at the villa at 3:28 p.m. It's dude, come on. From the moment that he walked into that villa, Shanquella was not able to communicate with him, period. And he said that as much. And that's what really just kind of pisses me off, because it's you other five, these other Cabo five, the other four, it became five when Nazir, obviously got there. But it's you all literally stood around after this happened and you just watched this woman suffer to death. That's another aspect that makes this so egregious. Hey, fan, how are you? Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yep. The way that they booked it out of that country like that.
Come on YouTube. Come on YouTube.
It's right here. And remember this part. I mean, not even 24 hours.
For me, because y'all, it don't take that long to get naked. It don't take that long to get naked, hoes. Where y'all at? She told me I'm gonna keep it hot. You gonna keep it hot? What?
I'm gonna keep my hot bathing suits that I don't want to wear because it's cute as fuck.
They, what Go said, they croup.
The ones that's mediocre is in my champions. I can't wear them.
To Monday, October 28th, 29th, 30th. 31st going home. Didn't even make it there. So I get off my flight around 2:16 Mexico time. I guess we're 2 hours ahead. 2:16 p.m. I make a phone call. To everybody who there. I need the address. So during this phone call, that's the first time I heard that Kula wasn't feeling good. They told me that Kula was sick and she was showing signs of alcohol poisoning. They got that because one of their friends told them that they were seeing signs. So she was showing symptoms of alcohol poisoning. But I didn't know it was a fight. Hold on. I got my Bible. And I'm gonna put this blunt down because I'm not lying. I'm not gonna lie on that. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not saving nobody's ass. I'm not protecting my ass. I'm just coming here to keep it real because y'all in my DMs going crazy and all this posting my asses and stuff. Y'all can go there if y'all want, but it's not gonna be pretty. But when I got there, it took us an hour. My taxi driver, it took us an hour to get to the villa because there was traffic. I don't know why. So I got to the villa around 3:26. Instantly, as soon as I go in there, I go to Kula. Kula didn't leave my side, none of that, till the nurse came. But I got too far ahead. So Cole was laying on the couch in the game room. The fucking villa was like a big ass mansion, no upstairs, all tile in the wall.